The title of today's webinar is Signify Lighting Academy, our sustainability program beyond carbon neutrality. Our first speaker today is Maurice Loosschilder. He is the head of sustainability strategy and reporting in Signify. So I know you're all excited. Without further delay, I will hand over the presentation to Maurice. Maurice, the floor is yours.
All right, thanks, Brian. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody on the call. Welcome to today's webinar on Signify's sustainability program. But let me start with a welcome to our special guest speaker of today. I would like to introduce you to Maxfield Weiss. Maxfield is the Director Corporate Engagement at CDP Europe. So I will first give an overview of the Signify sustainability program, Brighter Lives, Better World. And then after that, I will hand it over to Max to put things a bit in perspective of CDP's view. So let me introduce you to Signify's sustainability program called Brighter Lives, Better World 2020. And Brighter Lives, Better World 2020 is the program which we launched in September this year. And let me start with introducing Signify as the company I work for. So as you can see on the slide, Signify is active in the spaces of light sources, as well as luminaires, as well as systems and services. And we are the #1 lighting company, both in connected as well as in LED and conventional lighting. We have about 36,000 people working for us globally. And one of the things I'm very proud of is we are, since September this year, a 100% carbon neutral company in all our operations. And that comes together in this, in my final slide. So this is the summary slide of the Brighter Lives, Better World program, where we have the two big doubling commitments on the Better World side on top of the screen. And in the bottom, you see the Brighter Lives ones, where we want to double our Brighter Lives revenues, as well as double the percentage of women in leadership, including Lighting Lives and the Supplier Sustainability Program. So this was in a nutshell our follow-up program, what we will do after we have announced carbon neutrality. And with that, I would like to hand it over to Maxfield, who will give the perspective of CDP. So the floor is yours, Max.
And thank you so much, Maurice. As you mentioned, I'm Maxfield Weiss, and I lead CDP's work with companies across Europe to help them put sustainability into action through value chains. So, brief introduction for those of you who are unfamiliar with CDP, and if you are, that is apt, as we were once described by the Harvard Business Review as the most important green NGO that you've never heard of. So in a nutshell, CDP is a global nonprofit, and we run the world's largest environmental reporting system. And notably, there is market demand for environmental transparency. And we have 515 investors like BlackRock, Vanguard, and Amundi with a collective $96 trillion in assets, as well as 150 plus large purchasers like L'Oreal, Walmart, and of course Signify, with over $4 trillion in collective buying power, requesting companies to disclose their environmental data through CDP. Now, last year, we had more than 8,400 companies globally respond to CDP, which is more than half of the world's market cap. And in Europe, we had more than 2,100 companies respond. And this year, and this is breaking news, it's hot off the press, we have over 9,600 companies who responded to CDP. And this is well over 75% of the European market cap. And we also request this information from cities, states, and regions as well. So how does CDP work? So on behalf of investors that I mentioned, as well as those large-scale corporate purchasers who want to understand the environmental risk in their supply chain, we request environmental disclosures from companies and suppliers. And at CDP, we believe that transparency in disclosing on environmental impacts, risks, opportunities, drives action and positive change in two ways. One, it facilitates more effective action by the company reporting. And the second is that it informs better decisions from their stakeholders. So collectively, we house the largest database of self-reported corporate environmental information in the world. And this includes information on climate change, water security, and deforestation. And the data that CDP collects really underpins the market, as you can see here. So we've been pioneering disclosure for the last 20 years, and it's widely regarded as the gold standard for corporate environmental disclosure. Notably, Signify is also a business ambition for 1.5 campaign committed, and they have a 1.5 campaign reduction target. And this, again, is a clear aspect of climate leadership. They're aiming to reduce their Scope 1 and 2 emissions by 70% by 2030. And Signify is also committed to reduce absolute Scope 3 emissions from use of sold products by 2030. So again, a complete value chain perspective. They also are part of the RE100 initiative and have already met their goal of procuring 100% renewable energy or electricity by 2020. And one of the interesting things that I saw in Signify's response to CDP related to renewable energy is a 10-year power purchasing agreement that they entered in 2009 for a wind farm in Poland. This is another example of what leadership looks like. We need companies to be looking at the markets that need a renewable energy or electricity transition. And this is the first power purchase agreement signed in Poland, and which is really important and strategic towards the EU meeting its goals. So in closing, this is an example of what climate change leadership looks like. And we're really excited to be partnering with Signify on this journey.